I've come along to the family library here at Westminster Road in Douglas, and this is a story I think I've now covered twice, maybe three times. Every few years, yeah. It's a funding issue again, Kurt. I mean, this is so sad because I come in here today and it's just full of joy, full of people learning, and yet convincing, sometimes it's private sector, but public sector and obviously government. And where are we up to here? Because, I mean, I know the government did take over a bit of the funding in recent years. Is this stopped again or coming potentially to an end?
Essentially, it came to an end last year. So last April, the funding that we'd been awarded by Tynwald actually expired. That expired because it was connected to a select committee report, which was about libraries in general, not just about the family library. But to keep us going until that was finished, we were awarded £125,000 a year by Tynwald, and that was a fairly unanimous vote. But as the report got delayed, first by not all the information being there, and then by COVID, which obviously COVID came as a priority, the report hasn't been published, but the funding didn't follow on from there. So we were very lucky last year. Our benefactor basically put the whole amount in to keep us going for one further year, but that's brought us again to this point where we kind of need to just make it clear that priorities of government, and as I said, COVID is a priority, but that's put us at the back, and putting us at the back has put us in this position.
It's very emotive. I mean, I say we can go out years, we had demonstrations outside some years, all sorts going on. This is an election year as well, so this could be quite a potential here for Douglas MHKs to grasp with this one, I'm guessing.
Well, and all the others. Yeah. I mean, you look at what we've got here, so we're kind of in the front office here. The other half of the building here is the outreach services that we have. So we have a mobile library, which actually is the oldest part of this. This goes back to the 1920s, this started in the Isle of Man. And we have up to 200 people that we deliver books to in their homes that can't get out of their homes. Going up to people who are 105 years of age is our oldest. Now, for them, it's not just a library, it's not just a reading, it's a whole social service, especially when you put it in a COVID context. People are feeling even more isolated now, and we're part of that structure that helps, and we always have been, but people don't necessarily understand that.
How important then is it in this day and age? I mean, you mentioned there about particularly the mobile here, but in here today, all these mums with their children and having a whale of a time. Yeah. I mean, it's a massive amount of interaction going on here.
It is, and library is a bit of a misnomer for us. Even this is an activity centre with books, is kind of how we like to describe it. But it's all about encouraging young people to take up that reading, to learn, to interact with each other whilst they're doing that, which is increasingly important. And then at the other end of the scale with the outreach services, what we're doing is keeping older people active in their minds. Now that's a benefit to everybody, even the government. We don't want people in homes, we don't want them in hospitals, we want them active. And this is one way we can do it.
What sort of funding model would be ideal? Would it be just a government cheque or this combination of private and public?
I always believe in everything you do, it should really be a public and private combination. For us, it's a contribution into that at the very least we can match from the private sector. We're not looking for a complete, give us all the money we need. We know we have to work at that. But certainly in these times, getting that half of the money that we need to sustain ourselves and keep doing that every year is incredibly difficult.
And what is the headline number you're looking for figure-wise?
125,000.
Quite reasonable in the sense of what government spends.
Absolutely. And particularly if you kind of match that across 2,000 subscribers that we have of all the various services that we do. And also if you look at the fact that tot up all the numbers. We've been operating outside government for 9 years. During that 9 years, the library overall has cost, I suppose, close to £2.5 million. In that time, governments have contributed about 350,000. So we've done a very good job of going and finding that elsewhere, but that's very hard to do year on year. And when you've got employees, when you've got subscribers, people who expect you to turn up with the books on their doorstep, it's very hard to say, I know I can do that in 6 months' time, when you're constantly fighting for that.
How close to the edge are you? I mean, when does funding actually stop, or you have to make changes?
We're kind of in a review period. That's why we've brought this up now, between now and the end of our financial year, which is the end of July. So nothing's going to change between now and the end of July. After that, we've got a period where, depending on what help we get or what we don't, we'll look at how we manage our services for the rest of the year. But the conclusion of that, if it were closure, would be by the end of the year we would be closing.
And people watching this, maybe there is a fantastic benefactor out there. What's the best route to get to you or whoever?
Well, certainly that we have a website, we have Facebook, we have all of those things, and all of our people are keenly watching those. That we can guarantee they'll get a very quick and positive response.
This can't be easy, not just obviously people who use it, but the staff. Every few years it always seems to come to that sort of will we, won't we have a job tomorrow.
It's such a shame. If you look at any study that's ever been done on us, and Tynwald did one before they awarded us the money in 2018, the feedback is just tremendous. If you looked at any business and they got that feedback, you'd say, isn't this wonderful? And in a way, we kind of degrade the contribution that the staff are making by saying, well, you're not valuable, when actually they really, really are.
It's right, because there's been this Tynwald review into the whole thing, hasn't it? A report's been made, but it's just sort of it's not going to make it. Is it in time?
I doubt it. There was some talk from the chair, Claire Barber, yesterday about trying to bring that forward. But as far as I know, and I'm not involved in that process, I think that report was finished last year. So why it's held up or what the conclusions are, we don't know. Indeed, it could come back with a conclusion that they weren't going to fund us anyway. So
it's an election year, so suddenly things can be on people's manifestos now. This would be something you'd like to see that, I'm sure.
Absolutely. I mean, from our perspective, what we really want to say to people is, look, we're doing a valuable service here. We believe that, and a lot of our customers, if you want to call them that, believe that as well. We're asking them to kind of relay onto everybody the good things they've got from here, to show the value of the services. Then I think the next stage, if enough people agree that the services are valuable, is there's a proper discussion about how to make them sustainable and how to make sure we're not in this situation over and over again. Now, priorities of government are priorities of government. I'm not here to preach on that, but I'd like them to have that discussion. And even if the answer is no at the end, at least we've had a proper debate that's fed by real statistics and real needs, and obviously the community saying, I would hope that we want this to stay.